No, give me.
Good evening, good evening. How you guys doing out there tonight? It's In the Spotlight Podcast live again. Your host, Mike Melton. And tonight, I got a very, very special legendary guest who stopped by In the Spotlight Podcast. We got Ray Miller in the house, the former assistant at National Prominent St. Patrick's School and Super National Prominent MONTVERDE School, and is currently an NBA scout for the Orlando Magic, man. Ray, man, thanks for coming on tonight, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's just a great opportunity just to reconnect, man. We haven't done this in a while, so I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you and your audience.
Yeah, Ray, man, we gonna definitely take a trip down memory lane. I was just trying to share the thing onto your page. We're gonna take a trip down memory lane, man. And first, I want to congratulate you on your new job as a scout for the Orlando Magic. Like, that gotta be a dream to be able to sit and get paid to watch people play basketball and be able to evaluate if they're good or not, man. That's beautiful, man. How did you end up getting that job?
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Appreciate the congrats. It was crazy. Didn't anticipate it. Doing what I was doing at Mount Verde, and over the years, I've been fortunate enough being back at St. Pat's. Fortunate enough to work with a lot of guys who end up in this league. And in those instances, you get a chance to speak to a lot of front offices over the years. And I'm probably one of the few guys that have had the opportunity to speak to multiple front offices multiple times over multiple years. And one of the things that I've always tried to do in over 30 years of being in basketball is just try to make sure that I carry myself in a professional manner and I treat everyone with the same respect and dignity that I want to be treated with. And I think some people recognize that and recognize some of the work that has been done, even though I might not have been the front guy. People kind of recognize what I was doing, and the opportunities came, and then I had to evaluate it from a family standpoint, and Orlando just made the most sense for me at the right time in the right place with the right people.
Indeed, brother. I wanted to congratulate you on that, and we're gonna double back to working at the Orlando Magic, but we're gonna take it all the way back from the beginning, man. You know what I mean? And then I like to say, man, before I forget, I want to thank you, bro, because you was a pipeline for me when a lot of kids I knew needed a spot to go to that could help them go to that next level, man. And I could just dial that phone number and, yo, I got such and such, I got this situation, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll hit me up like, yo, I need this, da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And I want to thank you for that, bro. I just wanted to get that out the way. Thanking you for being
You're
that
welcome.
pipeline to help a lot of kids, brother.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that was able to.
All right, indeed, indeed. So let's take it back, man. When and how did you end up at St. Patrick's in Elizabeth, New Jersey, man?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I moved from Florida to New Jersey back in 1991. And, I wasn't into basketball at that much. I was just a casual dude towards basketball. And then my mom introduced me to this young lady, right? And we started kicking it. And her brother ended up transferring to St. Pat's. Okay. And trying to be a nice guy. The kid was living in like Summit, New Jersey, and he moved to live in Irvington, and a rough area, Irvington. So I'm like, this kid don't know the streets like that. So him going from Summit to damn near Newark might not be as comfortable for him. So I'm gonna be a good guy and try to give him a ride to school. I'll come through that way, go through that way, go to work and coming from work. I worked at corporate America at the time. And so I decided I'd just give him a ride, make sure that he was good. And I'm going to do it until he gets comfortable. Unfortunately, comfortable just got me. Okay. So I ended up being around that program, man, day in, day out, just helping. Met Kevin Boyle, watched him do his thing, and just, with no real intent than to just help. Okay. And after a while, just helping, volunteering. I volunteered over 20 years at MONTVERDE. Never took a dime. Okay, corporate America, and I just helped whichever way I could until it just kind of got from one step to another, from giving these kids a ride home back to Irvington and that kind of stuff, to being on the bench. And then, I really got into it once I realized that the level of competition in New Jersey was really, really good. And we were like the new school, the new kid on the block, so to speak. And we weren't getting the same kids that were going to St. Benedict's at the time, even Linden or Elizabeth, or, God forbid, going to St. Anthony's or Seton Hall Prep. Okay. And I'm like, we're getting our heads beat in every year by playing those teams. Every time we go up against St. Anthony's, we're getting crap. I'm a competitive dude, so I don't like losing in any way, shape, or form. So I started kind of trying to figure out what can I do to make sure that we have the guys that we need to have for us to be winners. Okay. So I started going to like AU games in Newark, pickup games in the park, watching kids and seeing which ones can play and which ones can't. What grade is that kid in? Then middle school kids need to go to high school. And guess what? I figured out most of these kids lived in really, really difficult situations, right? And several of those kids never had someone in their family graduate high school, much less go to college. And there were enough opportunities to help a kid find himself, not turn to some of the stuff that they could turn to, and get a chance to leave the city. And that's what I started talking to parents about. Put your kid here. It doesn't cost as much as going to X, Y, and Z. Okay. And most parents didn't want to send their kids to the public school because they didn't think they were getting as much in a public school situation because of overcrowding and that kind of stuff. And St. Pat's was a very small school, 18, 20 kids in a classroom, and it gave them a better opportunity. And over the years, we start getting better and better and better and better, and better kids start coming to our program. And then we start competing to win championships, county championships, then state championships, and then, tournament of champions. And that's how I got started. And that's how I got to this point.
Indeed. So what were some of the early obstacles that you had when y'all was building this program at St. Pat's?
Hey, for one, you were new. Okay, you're a new school. You're not even that St. Pat's was a new school. It was a new basketball program, especially trying to come up. Okay, and the public schools were really well known. Linden and Elizabeth were two of the top schools in the state. You had St. Anthony's that was unbelievable in terms of notoriety. Benedict's had been this really good school, the same program for years. Patterson Catholic was there. So there were several different opportunities that these people had. So that was an obstacle, trying to tell them to try something new, when everyone was saying, nah, they ain't good, they can't do this, they can't do that, and you know how this is, man. When you start something, it takes a lot of gas to get that plane off the ground,
Indeed. You don't got to tell me when I started what I did, Basketball Spotlight, after I left Metro Hoops. I understand. I understand. Now, one of the key first recruits that y'all brought in that really turned the program around was Shaheen Holloway, who happened to be from New York.
Yeah.
How did that whole thing happen?
I mean, Shaheen was in New York, and at the time they were trying to make sure that we get someone that was, kind of have a name that we could build around. Shaheen came over as a ninth grader, all right, and my brother-in-law was a ninth grader in Summit. Okay, so those were a couple of the first founding building blocks in that. We had a couple of the guys that one big kid from Roselle at the time, and a couple of the guys that were there, and we start building with that kid, with Shaheen being the kingpin. Okay. And as we went through that and we start growing and we start competing, then we got a kid by the name of Al Harrington.
We're gonna get to that. Now, hold up. All right. when I first saw y'all, I was at Keene. I was in college, and my roommate Squirrel, Randy Smith, he probably on here watching. I had thought Trenton basketball was the best thing that I ever seen. I'm like, yo, he like, yo, I'm about to take you to these games. And I'm like, bro, I already see basketball when I'm at home, this and this, blah, blah, blah. And we pulled up to the Dun. This is my first time ever being in here. And I go in and I see y'all playing Elizabeth in the county championship. And I'm looking at this, and ever since then I was hooked. I think it might have been his junior year or something like that. Y'all playing Elizabeth in the county championship, Shaheen junior year, and I'm hooked. After that, it was just over for me. I was all sold in on North Jersey basketball, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I enjoyed my time up there. Now, take us back with Al Harrington now.
Well, so when Al came in, now we have, a big time point guard in Shaheen, senior year, and you have Al Harrington. Okay. Young kid that's trying to learn, trying to come up. Okay. Al was, not who Al is that you saw in the pros. He was a kid that was struggling just to stay on balance. I tell people all the time, Al will fall in practice. It took him 5 minutes to get up. Okay. But he always got up. Okay? And this kid loved basketball and he wanted to be good. I remember the first time we went down to City of Palms with him. We're playing Patterson Catholic, and Tim Thomas is dunking on my man, and he's all upset at halftime, man. And I'm like, Al, you'll be all right. We found a way, man. We found a way. We won that game, and we kept winning. And when Al was a senior, we finally broke through.
And won in 1998. Indeed.
Okay? Indeed. And we beat St. Anthony's in the tournament of champions. Okay. And that was the moment in time. Shaheen was already gone to college. We had Sam Dellenbeer on that team. We had some really good guys, Jermaine Clark, those guys, Fridge Holman, all those guys. And we fought and came through and won.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, how was that feeling? First, y'all beat St. Anthony's in Parochial B. Then y'all end up winning the TOC after that. How was that feeling, man? I'm actually because I knew St. Anthony's was a thorn in y'all side for all those years coming up. How was it to finally get over the hump, man?
Yeah, I tell you. So we're in Parochial B, they're in Parochial A. So we had to go through every year. You have to go through St. Anthony's if you want to be recognized in New Jersey. Okay? And we finally got to the point where that game was a complete dominance of a great team, a great coach, and a great program. But it took years of growth. It took years of dedication. It took years of fighting to be your best. And that night, we were the best. And that moment will forever live in my memory as one of the greatest moments that I've ever had in basketball, just getting to the top of the mountain.
And when you look at the squads y'all had, y'all went on in the 2000s to win 4 more TOCs, 2003, 2006, 2007, and 2009. And I look at these squads and I just see the teams y'all put together, man. Give me some of the great memories from these different teams, man. Some of the stories, some quick stories that we probably don't know from the outside. You know what I mean? Like now I was there for like the last 4 of them joints being around or whatever, but give me some of the stories that we don't know, some of the inside stories, man.
Well, man, it was a special time. It was special time. I mean, you talk about, growing a program from the ground up, the competition that we face, the fact that, these guys came in and put St. Pat's on the map. Okay. And we'll go down the different years and a different group of guys that came in and what they did. And then, how hard it was. You go 5 years before you win another one. Then you go 3 years and you won 2 in a row. Then you miss one and you come back and win it again. And then, it became, so we started back trying to win this thing about 92, 93. We didn't get there until 98. Okay. And then over the next 10 years, okay, we became a program that the entire country recognized.
Indeed.
Okay? We
Indeed.
traveled, we showed up, and we played. And one of the things I used to tell people, if there's a championship in a tournament, expect for us to be there. We might not win it, but we're not stopping till we get to the championship game. Okay. And that was our motto. We're playing the last game of the season. We're playing the last game of the tournament wherever we go, whatever we do. And that was how we looked at it. And that's how we drove ourselves to being our very best.
Indeed. And y'all had the right kind of chemistry, and y'all worked y'all tails off. I used to come to the practices, you know what I'm saying, and be in there, and it was amazing to see the kind of work that y'all put in. You get what I'm saying? And I heard some different things, like Rob used to tell me,
Mike. This is a program, right? This is a program that we never had our own gym. We played in. There was no out of bounds at at St. Pat's. There was no out of bounds. Okay? There was and when we practice, like we'll have our preseason scrimmage games in there, okay, and we have the bench will be on the court because there's no sideline. I remember, day after Thanksgiving we can start practicing, right? And the school is closed for the Thanksgiving break. And we'll come back in there and it'll be freezing cold. It takes like 3 hours for that place to warm up. And we had to get it in. In the summertime when we're working in there, there's no air. We had to open all the doors, try to get some breeze into that baby. Our kids were dedicated, they were hardworking, and they were loyal to the program. And that's one of the things that I take back when people say, hey, it's basketball. Nah, it was an education. It was an education of how to go about your business, how to play hard, how to care for your teammates, how to be your brother's keeper. And that's what made us what we were over the years.
Indeed. And how did it feel when, like you said, y'all took y'all lumps when y'all first got there? And then I remember being at the Union County tournament, and I seen a petition going around to try to get y'all banned from participating in the counties. Like, how do you go from the team that used to get beat and now you done figured it out and now they want y'all out? How did it feel going through all of that?
Hey, man, you know what? You go back, you look at history, okay? Whenever you get to the top, you got to make sure that you keep your eyes open, okay, and your mouth closed, okay? Because people come at you in different ways, man. I remember some of those situations where, it would people just hated on us. They hated the fact that this school in the port were attracting kids that would have normally gone to their school. Okay. It's just one of the things, man. People, if you look around at anything, once you start winning, you start attracting people that like you. They start attracting people that hate you. Okay. And especially in Union County, because there were some schools that always wanted. Always wanted. I felt bad playing in some of the county championships because we'll play some teams and because of our schedule, right? It was always crazy. Our schedule was so hard because they changed the rules because they said that we weren't playing enough games against New Jersey teams. So they changed it. They made it 70% of your games before, I guess it was like February 1st, have to be against New Jersey schools.
That was the St. Pat rule?
Yeah. Rules. So we had to schedule ourselves to play those games. So we'll go to Florida for City of Palms, and we'll go to South Carolina for beach ball. Okay, we'll come back and we'll have like 6 games on our belt, 7 games on our belt, and City of Palms is 4 games in the tournament, right? So we always had to get a bye. We always had to get a bye because we can only play 3, and we can only play 3 in 3 games in a tournament, right? And we can play 4 games in a week, right? So in this case, we'll get a bye in the first round. We can't play on Sundays, okay? or we could play on Sundays, but Florida didn't have a Sunday, so it has to be if it's a 4-game, it would have to go into the next week before you can play that game. And it never was that way for us. So we only played 3 in Florida. Okay. Then we'll play 3 in South Carolina. Okay. And get those games in. So we'll get our 6 games in. And then we might have a New York team come over. We'll go to New York playing the Super 6 or something like that. So we got our 70% against New Jersey. And we had to be meticulous in our scheduling so as to not violate the rule. And we always found a way. So because we played such a tough schedule to start the year, because when we came to Florida, that's our first game of the season. Teams are like Oak Hill have played 10 games already.
Yeah, because Jersey starts late. Yeah.
That's our first game against teams that's in mid-season form. So we'll get knocked off 1 or 2 games along the way, and then that means, your county, play the county tournament. It's based on your record. And some of the county teams didn't play anybody. So they have undefeated records. Then we got to go on the road to play in Cranford, in Westfield, places like that. And then they're upset with us because guess what? We might have had a couple of losses, but we're way better than you.
Indeed. Indeed.
People wanted us out of the county because we'll go in and then we have to play zone for a whole half just to not run the score up.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
So that was the hatred that we felt from people in those situations. So we just dealt with it. We knew it was coming. We're big boys, so we take the beating and keep on ticking. Go win another TOC.
Indeed. Now, along with great victories, you guys had some tough defeats, man, that I remember. You know what I mean? I wasn't around in the 90s when I saw them, but 3 that come to mind to me is the 2005 TOC loss to Seton Hall Prep, the 2007 loss county championship to Linden that virtually cost y'all the national championship, and then of course the game at Rutgers against 2011 against St. Anthony's. Which one of these hurt the worst, bro? That you think about like, damn.
Man, they all sting right now when you talk about them. Okay? hey, well, we lost to Seton Hall Prep, right? That team was so good. We were so good that year.
Y'all was stacked, bro.
We were so good that year, okay, that we could have won the game had we not made some decisions from a coaching standpoint that night that changed the game, right? And I tell you one of the changes. We had Derek Character on the team, right? And they had a big kid that went to North Carolina State, right?
Brandon Costner.
Yep. And we're winning, right? But we had so many good guys on the team that we wanted to play everybody. And we went to the bench early and we lost some momentum. And because when we lost the momentum, we weren't able to get that momentum back and control the game the way that we were controlling it. We're running them out of the gym.
I remember that.
We're running them out of the gym. And we made the decision to go to the bench. And that changed the course of that game.
I remember that. I couldn't believe when they came back. I was like, yo, this is crazy, because I definitely had y'all stamped to win it all.
Man, that team should not have lost, but we did. And we have to accept it. We had to deal with it. And then we had to turn that around and say, let's fuel this thing up and go back and get it next year. And we did.
Indeed. And y'all won it back to back. Now let's go to that. I remember the Linden loss. And I remember being in it. I remember looking in the locker room and how quiet it was, and everybody was just silent. And then I saw a hardcore video of the locker room, and it was just like, whoa. Now I'm gonna ask you before you even get to it. Do y'all regret the Hunting Prep game?
Well, no, I don't regret it.
Okay.
I don't regret
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, hold up to the viewers. The hunting prep game was, what is it, the day before, 2 days before?
Well, I take you through it. I take you through it.
Take me through it.
I take you through it.
Take me
Okay.
through it.
This was a great opportunity for St. Pat's, right?
Mhm.
We're going to be on ESPN, but this is the week of the county championship. We played on Tuesday, right, in the semis, right? Wednesday, we left for Huntington. It was one of the worst, longest, disastrous trips that I've ever taken. Trying to get to Marshall University is not easy. We took like 2 flights, and we had drove like 2 hours to get to the damn place. Okay? We get there, we're tired, we get some rest. Okay, we played Tuesday night, we left Wednesday. It was on Thursday, right? So we played Thursday night, double overtime.
I remember that. A classic.
OJ Mayo versus
A classic.
Corey Fisher.
A classic.
Double overtime. We win. Next morning, we're on our way back to Jersey. We got back to Jersey late on Friday. And the game is at 3:00 on Saturday for the Cody County Championship.
And they was licking their chops.
They were licking their chops, and they were good. They were good.
Yeah, okay? They were good. They had a squad. They had a squad.
Right? And we came in and we just didn't have the legs. That double overtime, that TV night was great. I would not give that back. Okay, but give me the same opportunity, and I'll figure out a better way to prepare us for Saturday at 3:00.
Yeah. Because that definitely cost y'all the national title. It cost y'all the national title. You know what I mean? And I saw it in the video. Like, damn. I was looking at it. It was like, damn. Like, but that was a learning experience. You get what I'm saying? And then the big game at the I never been to a high school game at Rutgers. That intensity, that thing was like on another level, bro. I still haven't been to a game like that since. You get what I'm saying? Just now that was sold out. That's what the rack looked like being sold out. That was something different, right? How did take us to that moment and when did y'all feel it slip away?
We knew that year, right? Our team was led by Mike Gilchrist. And we were a good team. And we outplayed our hands in many of those situations for wins all throughout the year. We're undefeated coming in to that game. So was St. Anne. Okay. And we knew that we had some areas that weren't as strong. And we've always been able to manage and hide them. Okay. And I tell you, we knew what we had going in, and we had made some decisions earlier on some kids that could have changed all of that for us. Okay. Could have changed all of that for us. There are 2 kids, Patterson Catholic closed down, and 2 kids decided that they were going to come to St. Pat's. Right. And at the last minute, something happened, and they were diverted to St. Anthony's.
I heard about that. I remember that.
About a month ago, I saw Kyle, right? Kyle Anderson. I said, Kyle, yo, man, you know I'm still mad at you. He said, Coach, don't be mad at me. I was coming to St. Pat's. Okay, I was coming to St. Pat's. Okay, but Miles decided that we're going to St. Anthony's. Like, oh, man.
Wow. Yeah, and that joint was a thriller, man. That joint was a thriller.
And that kid was so good. Kyle Anderson was so good in high school, good in the pros, good in college. He was so good. It would have made a difference. in that game, and he made the biggest play in that game. That out of bounds play.
I know.
Okay,
I know when he called
out of bounds
timeout.
play, going to the middle with his left hand and turned back and made that pass to Taylor for the hoop.
Yep, that just turned the whole momentum.
Hey man,
that
game was in the balance, man.
I know that just turned the whole momentum.
My son was 3 years old at the time, right? And he's been around. His first day out of the hospital, he went from Overlook to the basketball gym before we got home. And he was the guy that led our team out of the locker room into that game. Little 3-year-old running out there with both hands over his head, with fist pumped. Okay,
wow.
He got back in that locker room at Rutgers, and you could have heard a pin drop. Okay,
wow.
And he just sat there. It's a 3-year-old sitting in the locker room, okay, as quiet as a mouse. He's not moving. Everybody's sad, the whole 9 yards. We got in the car driving back home to Roselle, okay? And he said, "Daddy, did something bad happen?" That moment was forever etched in my memory. A 3-year-old realizes when there was no excitement, there's some sadness.
Now let's turn it up with a little bit of fun now. Legendary guards. You got one game. You got to win. Who you giving the rock to lead the team? We got Kyrie Irving, Corey Fisher, and Shaheen Holloway. Who you giving the ball to? One high school game to win.
I think I'm taking all three of them.
Oh, here you go, man. I knew it was not too bad, man.
Yo. Hey, let me talk about each one of these cats.
All right, man. You taking the other way out, man. Go ahead.
Let me talk about these cats individually. That dude down there that you can't hardly even see his jersey put us on the map. Okay, he was one of the best finishers, one of the best competitors I've ever seen, and he was always ready to go. And what he's doing at Seton Hall right now is a testimony to where this kid came from and what he's been through and what he's overcome. Okay, the dude above him, I remember going to New York to pick this cat up, man. Okay, and he lived in one of the roughest areas that I've ever been to. Okay, this dude, I saw him the other day at Villanova. I'm so proud of Corey. It's not even funny, man.
What he do there? He coached there?
Yes, he's one of the developmental coaches on the staff right now.
I got to get him up here, bro. I got to get him on the
dude has overcome so much.
Wow, all praises, man.
Okay,
all praises.
I told you about my son being 3 years old in the locker room, right? This cat, number 11, my son was one day old when I went and watched this kid for the first time. I'm sitting in the hospital, and one of my boys called me. You know him. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Called me and said, "Yo, Kyrie's playing about 30 minutes from the hospital." I turned to my wife. I said, "You hungry?" She said, "Yes." I said, "I want to go grab you something to eat." I went and watched that dude play.
Wow.
That's a dude we got to have.
Wow. Now, I saw Shaheen, like I told you. As a fan, he was very he was worth the price of admission, very entertaining. I didn't have the scout eye in to be able to really understand, to be able to break down this game like that, but very entertaining, very gave you the show. Saw Kyrie playing high school. You know what I mean? He had the goods. He started to open up more as he got older, especially into his senior year. And then y'all didn't get a chance to play that senior year because of what happened or whatever. You know what I mean? But that Fisher boy, he won y'all some big games, bro.
Oh man,
he won y'all some big games, bro. He won y'all some big games, bro. So he was the one you can't bet against, bro. Like he was going into some spots. And he was getting it done, bro. Like on a high school joint, if I got to put my money on one dude for a night, he hard to bet against, bro.
Hey, you asked me would I take the game back at Huntington? No, because that dude showed up.
Yo, went to OJ crib, huh?
Hey, he went
to
to
his
OJ's
crib.
house.
Yeah, he went to the crib. Yeah, he
came out with the furniture.
Indeed. He went to the crib. And a couple years when y'all kept beating Benedict's.
Oh,
and they had stacked squads. He was a different animal, bro.
Man.
He was a different animal.
Man. This dude puts you on his back. I mean, we had a dude on the team, Quintrell Thomas, right? And Quintrell blocks everything. Every shot. He just throws it. Okay. Practices was so much fun watching him try to block Corey's shot. And Corey do everything, get up there, hold it for like 5 seconds, and then throws it off the glass, cross him over, lay it with the left hand, all of that. And he'll just run by Quintrell and call him a baby. And he used to piss Quintrell off so bad every single day. But this dude brought it, man. His competitive spirit was unreal.
Indeed, man. That's great times, man. Great times. Next up, let's talk about the rivals you had against these two coaches in particular. I want to know more about the weeks leading up, your preparation. How was it different than when y'all faced other people? We got Bob Hurley on the left, and we got Phil Colicchio on the right. Talk about the mindset y'all had to have going into those battles, man.
Man, some guys bring the best out of you, man. And these two guys bring the best out of us. Okay. I would think we brought the best out of them. Okay. It was a lot of respect. There was a lot of, hatred, if you will, that's in those gyms when you walk in playing St. Anthony's or playing Linden or Elizabeth or whoever Phil was coaching at the time. Okay. But we knew everything they were going to do. They knew everything that we were going to do. And our kids, it was you could cut the tension with a knife when you walk into those gyms because you know it's going to be on. Okay. It's going to be heated. Nobody likes each other. Nobody's going to pick at each other up. We're all going to try to take your head off. And hey, God for us all. Every man for himself, God for us all. Okay. May the best man win. Okay, that's how those games were, man. Those weeks, I mean, I remember, Coach Hurley would come to our games like in the county tournament or state championship. He'll just show up for a game, okay, and we'll be doing our thing, and then we know that for his game, all our play calls are going to be different.
Y'all got a whole nother package.
All our play calls are going to be different.
Wow.
Okay, I remember. God bless his soul, Desmond Sanders. We played St. Anthony's at St. Peter's. Okay. And in this game, the score at half, okay, at the end of the first quarter was 5-4. 8 minutes, 5-4. Des was locking up. Des comes off the bench, but Des could guard anybody.
Yeah, he locked in. He used to lock
in. And Des would sit there and guard, man. And he just makes guys so uncomfortable they turn it over. Okay? But they turn it over and they come back and they sit down and guard us. And we couldn't score. They couldn't score. Okay. Those games were so competitive. And the coaches were just so into it. And our kids and our fans and our parents and the media, everybody wanted to see those dog fights. And it was just fun.
Indeed.
Okay. Phil, I mean, we talked about losing to Elizabeth.
Linden.
Losing in that game. And this dude was, I don't know if he was chewing on tobacco, but he's chewing, man, because he wanted to do something.
Yeah, that was the days, man. I used to come there and watch them joints like it was like I was spoiled. You guys really spoiled me through those years, man. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get Phil on here. Hopefully one day I might get Coach Hurley on here, but Phil definitely coming on here.
Part of the reason why the rivalry was so high with Phil and us. Okay, Dexter Strickland.
Let's talk about it.
Dexter Strickland, Paris Bennett, Mike Nardi. Okay, those three guys were ticketed for that program.
I know me and Phil talked about that before. We talked about it before. And what about Mike Nardi?
Mike Nardi went to, hey, that was, man. I think that's where everything started, man. He came to us.
Yeah.
He came to us. He visited Linden. He visited St. Benedict's, and he came to us.
Mike Nardi. Wow. Ben Gamble said he just tuned in, man.
Yeah,
yes, you spoiled me, man. Now I go to the games and it just don't got that fire no more, man. It just don't got that fire no more. And we had magic in the bottle for the time we had it, brother.
Man, that was great. That was great times, man. Great basketball, great competition, and a lot of respect. You know, I think that was one of the things that you take away from that era in New Jersey. You know, and then when we left to come to Florida, all the rules changed. I tell you, if the rules were the rules when we were there, it wouldn't. The game would still be the way it was. Okay, and if the rules were the way they are now,
what's up? Yeah,
if the rules were the way they are now, when I was there, we wouldn't have lost the game. We wouldn't have lost the game because I'm gonna go get them dudes. Because I see kids transfer back and forth now, and hey, we had Derek Character, right? Derek Character came to us as a freshman. He left. He went back to Scott Plains, right? Yeah. Then he comes back to us. When Derek went back to Scotch Plains, we never, ever, ever made it an issue about him transferring back to his school. Okay, so he played right away. He transfers back to St. Pat's, and Scotch Plains made him sit.
Indeed, that's where I'm about to get to next. How did it feel? Because I remember reading the article when they said that y'all wear the black hat, that y'all was the villains in the state of New Jersey, the most hated, the most notorious. How did it feel walking around like that, or did y'all wear that with a badge of honor?
Hey, man, like I said before, when you get to the top of the mountain, okay, everybody's trying to knock you off. And if you spend your time at the top of the mountain, okay, being mad about being at the top of the mountain, you ain't gonna be up there long. Okay? Get there, be proud of what you've done. You know you've done it the right way. You know you've done it the hard way. Okay, you've done. I say this. I watched everything that St. Anthony's did to get to where they were, and emulated everything they did to help us get to where we were. Okay, so if there was something for me to be ashamed of, then there's a lot of shame to go around. But you're doing good for kids. You are helping kids to get out of bad situations to better situations. And I commend Coach Hurley for all that he's done in Jersey City. He pulled kids from everywhere to make them better people, better students, and better family men when they left him. And I think we did a lot of the same things. And when we got the hate, because he was loved, we were hated. But we knew we were going to be hated because we started with the hate. Okay?
Indeed.
And we embraced everything that we did, and we did it openly. We did it with pride. We celebrated our championships. We celebrated our kids' success. Okay? And we'll always be happy about our era in New Jersey and what we've done for the city of Elizabeth and the state of New Jersey.
Indeed, brother. Now, concerning the NJSIAA and how they seem to come at y'all with the suspensions and all that kind of stuff, do you think that it was a witch hunt?
I mean, I think that there was a lot of reasons why some of the things happened the way they did. I think that at one point you put up a thing that shows us winning one championships Won championship in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we won a bunch in 2000s.
Mm.
Okay. And there are reasons why people were not happy with the dominance that we're starting to show.
Mm-hmm.
There was not enough time for other teams to win enough championships to keep us off of from the trophy case. Okay.
Mm.
And we just kind of stacked them up. And then, at the end, we knew, everybody in the country knew that we'll win that last year with Kyrie.
Yeah.
They knew that.
Yeah.
Right? And that would have been a little bit of a run, a little bit of a dynasty. Right? There were definitely some, in my opinion, some reasons to make sure that there's not another dynasty.
Wow.
That's my opinion. And I have no actual proofs of that, but it is interesting. As soon as we left, the rules changed.
Indeed. Now, is there any chance I could get y'all had a bunch of pros there, tons of college players? Any chance I could get an all-time St. Pat starting five out of you?
St. Pat's all-time starting five. We'll start with Shaheen Holloway. Okay, all three of the guys that you put on the screen has to be on that team. All three parts. Okay, Al Harrington has to be on that team. Okay, and then I got to come up with a fifth guy, which I'm not going to.
Well, you know how to find that. I can tell the NBA been practicing. You know how to talk, bro. You know how to. You didn't had a few interviews. You had a few interviews. So let's transfer down. Y'all take the trip down Florida, man. Y'all arrive in Montverde, Orlando area, sunny, everything beautiful. What's your first plan of attack?
It was we finished up the season 2011, right? And Montverde called, and Kevin came down and interviewed, and we talked about the opportunity, and we knew that the schools in New Jersey, private schools, were closing. Like I said earlier, I volunteered all my time at Montverde. I got $25 every Christmas from the head of school for a Christmas gift. $25. Okay, I tell you, I used to wash our uniforms, our practice uniforms, and our game uniforms at my house or at a laundromat on my own dime.
You talking about that St. Pat's or Montverde?
At St. Pat's.
Okay, 20 years. You volunteered 20 years at St. Pat's, yeah.
Right. I did that on my own dime every day after practicing games. Okay. That's how hard it was at St. Pat's for ends to meet. Right. Used to get donations from companies just to help with the school. So we knew at some point this was going to end. And then Montverde came calling. Kevin accepted the job. He and I came down here that over Easter. They had a big tournament at Disney, and the kids from Montverde were going to be playing in it. And so he and I sat down, evaluated some of the guys that were there, and knew what he had and what he needed. Okay. Later on that fall, D'Angelo Russell shows up. Okay. Dakari Johnson came down to Florida with us from St. Pat's. And then Joel Embiid shows up that same year. Okay. So we start putting together the pieces to get to where we're trying to go. It's always to be champions. And now we have a chance to compete against schools all over the country, and a little bit different rules. They had some rules, some strict rules here also. That first year, Dakari Johnson had to sit out the entire year, his sophomore year, because the rule in Florida was if you follow your coach in a transfer, you can't play. But because of the level of practice, the level of growth that our guys got by just competing every day in practice, he and his family realized this was going to be good for him anyway.
Anyway,
Okay?
yeah,
And
that works.
here. Okay.
Work.
So I was in Jersey because I decided like I said, I worked in corporate America. Kevin was going to get a job at a school in Florida. I'm happy for him. I'm going to sit home. I'm going to chill. I'm going to coach anymore. I got a 3-year-old. I got to make sure I spend more time with them. Okay. I was taking time from work for basketball. Okay. And so, man, finally, I can just chill. But it didn't happen that way. Kevin was my wife said to me, I give you a year and you'll be in Florida. And I'm like,
wow.
Okay. I came down here like February. I came down here in January to help Kevin with a tournament. Okay. And during that weekend, the head of school offered me a position, and it made sense to make that move. And I went back up, packed my stuff, drove back to Florida.
Now, when you got down there, how did your job transform and expand in terms? Because now you got to recruit the country. So how did your job transform?
That was the hardest thing. Okay, I was telling someone just the other day. I remember calling kids, calling families, and I said, "So where is Montverde?" and where is that? And I'm like, it's in Florida. It's right by Disney. Blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh no, that's way too far. And that was the answer that I got every time. So that's why we got D'Angelo, okay, from Kentucky. He had a relationship with Dakari before, so that kind of helped, right? Then Joel Embiid came over from Cameroon, Africa. He wasn't worried about far. Okay. He wasn't worried about far. And we got a kid from Puerto Rico who just wanted to come to America and play. Those are the 3 guys we brought in that year. Right. And that was those guys were young enough, so we'll have some runway. Okay. The next year we got Ben Simmons. Okay. The next year we got Ben Simmons.
How did that happen?
I got a call from Coach Boyle, and he said to me, "There's a kid in Australia by the name of Ben Simmons. You need to find him." That's exactly what was said.
So he just said Australia, and you need to find him. Wow. I talked to Dino about that, about when he talked to Ben Simmons' dad, when he said Ben Simmons' dad called him. When I interviewed Dino on here, he talked about that conversation with Ben Simmons' dad. So now y'all get Ben Simmons, and y'all see this thing finally transforming into something. And then
it really took off. We got to the championship the first year that we were here. Okay. We got to the championship that year. We were up on Finley, and they came back with Anthony Bennett and those guys, and we lost. Okay. But that gave us a chance to see what the championship level looks like. Okay. And from that point, we went back the next year. Ben came over. Ben had a knee injury, okay, at the time when he came over, right? So he was just rehabbing. He wasn't going to play until the next year, but he got better. The doctors cleared him, and he played 3 games that year, the championship games. Okay. And he showed out in those 3 games and helped us win a championship. Right.
Let's hold up for a second. We're gonna go there, because I want to take you to this moment right here.
Watch the game, man. 40 next, baby. 40 next. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. Hey, and the craziest part of that is we're playing a New Jersey school.
Wow. to win your first ever national title. Talk about the celebration, how y'all felt, that one-on-one conversation that you and Kev had winning y'all first one, bro.
Hey, I tell you what, man, it still gives me chills because we
Wow.
grinded so hard. We grinded so hard. We put in so much. And to win that championship and to change the landscape of high school basketball at that point. Okay. I told you before, when I call parents and say, hey, this is that, or whatever, you know, and you know, I talk to people about coming to Mount Verde, and they say it's so far. All of a sudden, everywhere was close.
Wow.
Everywhere was close. Oh, Florida. I love Florida. We want to come there. Everybody wanted to come to Florida at that point. All of a sudden, this was mid-America and everywhere was close.
What's the biggest adjustment that you guys have to get into a player once they come in, coming from these different places?
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, and this is one of the things I really appreciate about the opportunity that we've had to help kids change their lives. A lot of kids have gone through playing basketball and being told how good they are. Okay. And oh, you're ranked here, you're ranked there, you're ranked there. I don't know where a kid is ranked. My own son, I could not tell you where he's ranked. I don't care. Because you get ranked every day that you step on the floor on any program that we're coaching in. Either you're good or you're not. You can play or you can't. It's that simple. Okay. You have to learn how to compete. Nobody gets a free pass. Life is not about free passes. There's no free lunches. Somebody paid for that lunch. You're just eating it. Okay. So you have to compete. You got to compete in the classroom. You got to compete in the community. You got to compete on the court. And that's the hardest thing for most kids to understand because it's new. It's new.
Wow. So it ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
I tell people that all the time. Mount Verde is not for everybody. Okay. If you want to be here, you have to buy into what we're selling. You have to be disciplined. You have to work hard. You got to be responsible. You got to take the classroom seriously. You got to behave yourself.
Take me through.
When you go on the road, you're representing not just yourself. You're representing your family. You're representing the school. You're representing a lot more people than yourself. So you have to look yourself in the mirror and be the right kind of dude. And I tell you this, I tell everybody this over the years. You're helping me raise my son. And if you're not ready to help me raise my son, you can't come to Mount Verde.
Take me through a typical basketball day at Mount Verde for a player.
Okay, so most of the kids, we have a school that had kids from 90 countries, right? And it's not just athletes. These are really, really highly academically driven students that come to Mount Verde because they want to go to American universities and that kind of stuff. And at the time, we had probably about 40% of our population was Asian. Okay. So you're in the dorm. Okay. You have lights out. So school starts at 7:45. Okay. So you get up about 6 o'clock, do what you have to do, get to the dining hall, have your breakfast, go to class. You go to class till 3:10. Okay. You have 7 periods. You come after 3:10. So at 3:45, you're in the gym. We'll practice till 6. You'll go back up. You'll have dinner. 7 o'clock, you have study hall. 10 o'clock, lights out. That's a typical day. On the weekend, we'll practice on a Saturday because we can't practice on Sundays here. We'll practice on Saturday morning, like at 8. Okay. We'll go 8 to 10, 8 to 11, whatever. And we'll have a practice, right? Then the kids have the rest of Saturday off. They go on trips with the school to Disney or to the mall or out to eat or the movies or whatever, the beach. They have that. right? So they go out, they have all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and we start all over again on Monday.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Now, you guys, once y'all started winning, y'all just put the string together, man. 7 national titles, tons of NBA players coming through there. It just turned into the squad. Now, I'm going to say this, and I never imagined it when I was growing up, and I know it's partly that Steve was getting old or whatever, but I never thought someone would just overtake Oak Hill like that, bro. I never. If somebody would have told me that it's gonna be a new squad that come along and Oak Hill wasn't gonna be what Oak Hill was before, I wouldn't have thought that, man. What's your thoughts on that? Like becoming the new king of the mountain nationally?
You know, the funny thing is, we played Oak Hill a lot when we were in New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
We played them probably 5-6 times over the years that we were there. We've never beaten them.
I remember. I know.
Never beaten them.
I remember one time they smacked y'all bad at the prime time, bro.
Man, I was talking to Coach Smith at Geico or Chipotle this weekend because he was there. He's retired now. Former coach at Oak Hill, and that team he had Kevin Durant on that team, Ty Lawson, and
Lamont Gordon. Yep. I remember all of them. Yep, I remember all of them.
And I remember telling him, you know, we called a timeout early in the game. We're down. We haven't scored. And one of the players came over and asked me, Coach, do I look fat? And in that moment, I realized that we're in trouble because this is one of our best players, and he's worried about how he looks on TV.
I remember that.
I mean,
I remember that probably was one of his worst games I ever saw him play.
We were down 36-10 at half. 10 points in a half. We never recovered. Okay. And they just were such a dominant force, Oak Hill. I remember the first time we ever played Oak Hill is with Shaheen his senior year. We drove to Oak Hill and played them. Okay. And we lost by 1 at the buzzer. We drive back to Jersey in a snowstorm and played Piscataway the next night. We lost by 1 in overtime. It was like, man, we can't get over this hump. Okay. Yeah. But we did. We got to Montverde, and we haven't lost to Oak Hill since.
Now y'all down there and y'all winning these chips. How do y'all keep yourselves and the players motivated after you done won 3, then 4, then 5? Like, did it ever get boring?
You know, I sent a text to Kamani Young at UConn.
My guy, I'm definitely getting him on here. He might, I might could get like before it would have been an hour. Now I might could get 30 minutes. I might could get a 30 minutes.
I sent him a text. I sent him a text on Monday night. I said, Kamani, winning never gets old.
Wow.
Never gets old.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
It's the same thrill, man. It's the same thrill because every year someone else is their first time getting a trophy.
Indeed. Indeed.
You always do it for that guy.
Indeed.
You're doing it for that new family. First time having that thrill of victory. Having something that they'll never ever lose in the rest of their life. They'll always be a champ.
Indeed. Now I got to ask this question. Many people see our rosters and they think, oh, these guys don't really got to do much. They just roll the ball out. I always hear the stories. They were All-Americans. They was pros before they went there, this and that. Talk a little something about the development and how hard is it to coach talented players?
You look around and you see the number of guys from Montverde in the pros right now. You look around, you watch a college game, you watch an NBA game, you see a Montverde guy. There's a reason why all those guys are there. There's one formula. I was asked this question a while ago by someone from the NBA. Okay. And he asked me, he said, Ray, what is it that you guys do here that's different from other teams? My answer to him was, I can't tell you what we do different because I don't know what other people do. I can tell you what we do. We instill fundamental. We instill respect. We instill hard work. We instill dedication. Okay. And if you have
Yo, Ray, your joint muted. Your joint muted is muted.
oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was dedication.
You're we instill dedication. And if you can take those foundational elements with you throughout the rest of your life, you will be successful. Okay. And that's what we instill in our guys at Montverde. We don't talk about, oh, I'm this right. I have this ranking, or I'm going to that school. No, we talk about what you have to do to get better today. Okay. And you need to be better today than you were yesterday. And you need to be better tomorrow than you are today. And that's how our guys continue. We work so hard in the weight room. We work so hard on the court. We work so hard in the classroom so that they understand what it will be for them at the next level. RJ Barrett went to Duke, okay? And he got there and he called me. He said, Coach, I am so glad I went to Montverde because everything that Coach K is talking about, that's the stuff that we talked about at Montverde. I went to a college practice this recently, okay? And this is a college coach that recruited a lot of guys from Montverde in overtime. And his practice plan was exactly the way that Coach Wall runs his practices.
Now I got a player in particular that I seen that was interested. So you get a player like Queen that came from Baltimore area. He was ranked #1 in the country. Then he get to Montverde, and most of his sophomore year he not playing. How hard was that for him, and how was he able to get past that, and what was the reason he was able to get past that?
Well, let's see if I can find my phone. I sent, I told him before he got here. Okay, I told him before he got here. They came down, they visited the school. I sat down with him and his family, and I explained to him. I said, "Look, I don't know how much you're gonna play next year because what you are right now can't work at Montverde. But if you will trust us, we will help you to get to where you're trying to go." I remember saying to him, okay, I said, Derek, you have manipulated everybody in the city of Baltimore. You have to leave. Okay? Because there's nobody else for you to manipulate. So you're going to start manipulating yourself.
Whoa.
You have to get out of this environment. And he looked at me and he just stared at me and just smiled. And he came here. He didn't play as a sophomore. Okay? Didn't play. He struggled. There were times that, we're running and everybody's on this end and he's at a foul line on the other end. And to see this kid win the McDonald's MVP.
Wow.
2 national championships in 3 years tells you about the growth that young man has gone through. And he will continue to grow because he's a great kid.
Indeed. Now, during that time when you and Kevin Boyle there, how many college jobs y'all had to turn down, bro?
I don't know how many Kevin turned down, but I turned down a bunch.
Wow.
I turned down a bunch because, again, for me, I had the best job in America. I had the best job in America. Okay, I had the spot where every coach made it a destination to be.
Wow.
Okay? And I love the fact that our guys go to college and then, right now we're sitting on about 19 guys in the NBA. Not bad.
And y'all had some great squads, some great dynasties, man. Which brings me to my next surprise question. This one right here, pop it up. head-to-head battle. Montverde 2020 versus Montverde 2024. Who wins?
All right. So 2 things, right? And Cade said this to me the other day, Coach. I wish we played the schedule that you guys play now. They played a great schedule. They played a great schedule. The NIBC did not come about at that point, or whatever it's called right now, ESPN, Nike Scholastic or EYBL Scholastic. That didn't come until after these guys left. But we played a team like the Patrick School that had Kabinga and, Adamo and those guys on there, okay? And we won by 50. Okay, we played Hunter Dickinson and the Mather, okay, and we blew them out. That team won every game by an average of 39 points. Okay, this year's Montverde team is an unbelievable team. Okay, unbelievable. And they play the hardest schedule that any Montverde team has played and went undefeated. So I think they both own their own right to be in this conversation. But one team had 4 guys drafted in the first round. Okay? When the 24 team, have their guys drafted, then we can make a comparison. Separate entities on the 2020 team. 6 guys from that team is in the NBA right now.
Wow. How do it feel when y'all see those guys go across that stage, man?
It's the best feeling, man. It's the best feeling because you know what? All these kids come here with the hope and goal of getting to that level. Okay. And the ones that are able to achieve that pinnacle, is an unbelievable credit to their work ethic and dedication and their families. Okay. The sacrifices that these families make for these kids to be in these positions is priceless. Priceless. Okay. So it's just it brings joy to my heart. It brings over just tremendous happiness for each one of these kids to get to the level that they get to get their college degrees and to play wherever in the world that they play professionally. It is a blessing.
Indeed. Next up, this is going to be a fun one right here. You got one pick to start your high school team. Al Harrington or Ben Simmons?
One pick.
In high school, not the pro person, the high school person, the high school player.
Damn. Hey, I put it this way, right? I had both of these guys at the same stage, sophomore, right? Sophomores to their senior year. The rise of Ben was so immediate. He won 3 high school national championships.
Wow.
Okay? In 3 years, this guy probably lost 4 games. Okay. Al was our first NBA guy. Our first NBA guy. Okay. But when you compare the two as high school players, I would say Ben was more impactful earlier and longer. Al got better his junior year into his senior year, and he was a dynamo player by his senior year. Okay. But Ben would probably get my nod as the first guy, 6'10", point guard.
Wow. I'll take that. And I think I got one more.
Now I got to go call Al and apologize.
I got one more. And you kind of mentioned this. And I don't know if you could be honest about it, but I definitely want to hear it. You mentioned it early. Montverde 77, Patrick School 32. Was this personal? Because when I looked at that game, it seemed like it was something personal going on. But I'm asking you, like, the way that y'all attacked, and it seemed like that y'all could have really poured it on, y'all kind of like, was this personal?
I say it this way. I coached at St. Pat's. I didn't coach at a Patrick school.
Whoa.
So I don't have anything against the Patrick school. Okay. So St. Pat's was a team that was a dominant team in New Jersey. Okay. Patrick school came about after we left, so we have no affiliation. At least I don't.
Okay. I'll take that. Now, one more question before we get into what you got going on now. Why y'all feel the need to come up to New Jersey and just punish our teams every year when you was at MONTVERDE, bro? That's just out of control now, bro. At the what's the name classic y'all come to every year, bro.
Metro Classic.
That's ridiculous, bro. Like, for real. And I would have been signed up to play y'all after a while. Like, it's just ridiculous now, man.
Hey, dude, when we were there, right? When we were there, people came to watch us play, okay? And they came to watch us lose, right? They came to watch us lose. We come back. One of the things that I can say with all honesty, no coach in New Jersey can say that we came up there and took their best player and brought him to Florida.
Wow.
Nobody can say that.
Wow, that's respect. Right? That's respect.
Right? So when we come back to New Jersey, okay, and we show up and the gym gets sold out way before we get in the gym. People came to see the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People come to see the show. And every time we come there, there's someone that is good enough to beat us. At least that's what they
think. Now, another question. I lied. I got one more that I want to ask. Is this the first time this ever happened to y'all? Y'all had too many players eligible for the McDonald's All-American game? Like, that's crazy. Like, how you got kids in the top 10 that can't be in the McDonald's All-American game? That's crazy, bro. Like, for real.
That's why I don't do it rankings, man. That's why I don't do it rankings. I mean, I believe the best kids should get the recognition, okay? And when you have quotas that you have to meet or can't exceed, it's unfair to kids that are deserving.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I watched the McDonald's game, and there are guys there that are not on the level of some of the guys that were left off across the country. Okay. And I think that's unfair. I think that when we talk about youth sports, we need to be about the kids. Okay, we need to be about the kids. We need to be about who are the best players and what they have contributed to the game, and not use a quota as a way of selection.
Wow. And that's a dope way to get into what you're doing now, man. So give me the moment where you had to go to the team and go to Kevin, and I know you probably let him know beforehand, but when you had to address the team that you was going to take the job as a scout as the Orlando Magic.
Yeah. This started during the season last year, and someone called me and kind of started having a conversation. I told them that I wanted to wait until the season was over. Okay. I knew that I was going to consider it, and I told Kevin early that there's going to be some opportunities because there were several teams involved, and I was going to take the opportunity to at least investigate it. Like I said earlier, there were several times that job opportunities came up, high major jobs, and I just basically, without even much thought, says no. Okay, and I've always told Kevin when those opportunities were presented to me. Okay. And I told him early in the year that these opportunities were being presented, and I was going to take a look at it at the end of the season. And after we got done at Geico, I seriously start having some consideration for the different jobs, different opportunities. And once I decided that I was going to go in that direction, I told Kevin, I told the school, and then I had to tell the kids.
Mm.
Okay, and that was the hardest thing to do because my son is on the team, right?
Mm.
And I didn't tell him.
Mm.
Okay, he learned of it the same time the rest of the guys learned of it. Okay,
Mm.
and it was a hard moment, but it was a moment that finally came that I felt that it was time for me to do something different. Kevin and I had coached together for 32 years.
Wow.
So I mean, he'll start a sentence and I'll finish it. That's how close we are, and we've done so much together. We've had so much success together. We've had some highs and we have some lows, but we've always been together. Okay, and he's like a brother to me. We'll always be that close. Okay, it was time for me to grow, and it was time for me to do something that I've always dreamed of doing. Okay, it was 2001 or so. I'm sitting here and I decided I'm going to go back to school. And I took a leadership course. And one of the first papers I had to write was, what are you going to do with this degree when you get it? And I wrote the paper. This is late 2020 or 2021, and turned it in. My last paper, I had to do this assignment, okay, that combined a lot of my work that I'd done over that period of time, okay. And this was one of the letters that I had to go back and work on. And I read the letter, and it said that I said in that letter, at the end of this degree program, I would like this to open doors for a professional organization.
Wow. Look at the Most High. All praises, brother.
I mean, it was unbelievable when I read that. It brought tears to my eyes because I put it in the atmosphere, and God answered my prayer. Okay,
Indeed. Indeed.
and this happened. This happened in February of last year. In February, I still was in season going till April.
Mm.
That's when the phone calls start coming in. Okay, that this was actually going to be an opportunity. And
Wow.
that's why I knew that it was time.
I'm proud of you, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Now break down your job there. What do you like? Give us a breakdown of what you actually do.
Well, in the NBA, it's a couple of things that happens. You get players through the draft, you sign free agents. That's the only way you get players in the NBA, right? And my job is to go out and watch players and decide on their skill and their ability whether or not where they fit in the big spectrum of professional sports. Right. And so I just get to watch guys and evaluate. That's something that I've always done. So it's an opportunity to really, really look at the game at a different level and do something I've always done.
Indeed. Now break down some of the main components that you look for. Not only, I mean, like more so off, like besides their basketball skills, what are you looking for in an NBA player? So a lot of kids and parents out there that might have thoughts of this can really get it from an NBA scout. Some of the things you guys look for.
Well, I mean, this in this business, there is so much, right? Every player in the league represents an organization, right, on and off the court, and beyond your talent, the next thing is your character. Okay, the next thing is your character. It's about who you are when no one is watching, and that takes in an awful lot of what we talked about here tonight. And I said to you earlier, every guy that I brought into Montverde over the years, there was one criteria: you're going to help me raise my son. It's the same thing that I look for when I look at an NBA player. Are you the role model that I want you that somebody would want their kid looking up to? And every young kid out there needs to understand That's life. That's not just the NBA. That's life. You need to carry yourself in a way that people will respect you, people want to be around you, and you can be a leader in your community. Because if you do that and you're talented and you work hard and you're dedicated, you'll have an opportunity to play professional basketball.
Do scouts check social media accounts and stuff?
You check everything. I mean, in reality, when you are evaluating, you're evaluating the complete person.
Mm. Mm. Indeed, indeed, indeed. To switch gears a little bit, you didn't go to college, but you being an NBA scout, you got to deal with a lot of players and stuff that's in college and a lot of things going on. How do you think this NIL has affected the game?
In multiple ways. In multiple ways. In multiple ways. I mean, I get a chance to talk to college coaches. Just, if you ever pick up my phone, I have so many contacts in my phone that I've had for years. So it's not just where I'm at today. These are relationships that I've built through the years, right? And one of the biggest things that coaches worry about right now is how to manage the NIL era. Okay.
Mm.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, these kids deserve to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to be paid. But it's there's no rhyme or reason for the payment. And there's no general understanding from a college coach what he's paying for.
Mm.
At one point, paying a kid got people like you and I put in jail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's only a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
People that looked like you and I were in jail for apparently giving a kid pennies on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
right? Today, it is the way of life.
Mm.
And I think it hurts college sports in general because it's unfortunate for coaches. They can't maintain and grow their team. Danny Hurley has done an unbelievable job of putting a team together and keeping his team together and winning 2 national championships. He should be commended. Okay. But most teams don't have that opportunity. And they don't have that opportunity because now you have a baseball system. You have a minor league and a major league, and you have different levels of minor league. A,
Mm.
double A, and triple A before kids get to the major league. And when they get to the major league and they're playing at, the blue bloods of the world, or they're playing at the top 25 schools in the world, okay, the other 320 teams that's left out there have pecking order of where they stack up now in college basketball or football
Mm.
because the big schools take from the little school.
Mm.
You develop a player at Monmouth, okay? And next thing you know, he's at St. John's because he's too good for you.
Mm.
Hofstra develop a point guard. He leaves and he goes to Alabama. And that kid was at Hofstra, they'll probably be further along this year.
All facts.
That
All.
kid went up to the Final Four.
This anything y'all had to deal with at Mount Verde?
Now, the state of Florida does not have NIL at this point. And,
Wow.
you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
I think it's a good thing for kids because kids need to understand the value of an education. Okay. The value of the opportunity to play basketball or any sports whatsoever. Okay. And do it because you genuinely want to do it. Okay. Because you want to be good at it. When you introduce money to the equation and you don't introduce the education, off money, you create a opportunity for this kid to be misled. And you
Indeed.
see a lot of guys that are making a lot of money, but then when they go onto the court, they're not playing like these. They're professionals. Okay, you watch any NBA, NFL team. Okay, them dudes get paid, but they better show up on Saturday, on Sunday. They better show up every night in the NBA, because if you don't, there are going to be consequences. There's no consequence tied to all the money that these kids make when they don't perform basketball. And you're asking coaches to consistently win when they can't keep a roster together. It just doesn't work that way.
Indeed. Indeed. I got two more questions before we, as we wrap up. Our first question is: in a state now where it seems that the media and other facets are really forcing kids to leave college to pursue the NBA a lot earlier, does the NBA have something set up where they have former players or people go talk to some of these kids that's making these brass decisions where they end up not making it? Or is it something that they're trying to do to really like build up the G League? Because some of these NBA people declaring from the NBA, is obvious like they shouldn't be doing it.
Well, from my days in high school, there always has been a program that was available for every college coach to
Okay.
use with his players about where the NBA say you are.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay.
so there's always an evaluation, and that's done through the Players Association. Okay,
Okay.
so the
Okay.
Players Association provide the program that would allow college coaches to get uh, an understanding of what this kid potential is in the NBA in terms of probably talking to teams or talking to people like myself about what some of those discussions are. Have you seen this kid play? Have you not seen this kid play? What do you think? Where do you think he fits in the draft? And the Players Association have their own people who does the same type of job like we do.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And they provide guidance to younger players who have college eligibility or high school eligibility in making those types of decisions.
All right. Last question. Um, I had Shep Gardner on last week, and he talked about the transition of going once you realize you don't make it,
Hmm.
and you got to go back into the regular world. And I
Hmm.
and I, I and I and I personally know a kid that from Kentucky that was talented in basketball, and then when his dreams didn't work out, he ended up getting on substances and ended up overdosing and dying from fentanyl.
Mm.
Do you
Mm.
think that we need to pay more attention to the mental health of those kids and those grown men also when that day comes where it's over and you're 26 and you're 25 and you got to go back? And one thing he said that was key when I asked him what was the transition back to regular life, he said, Mike, I never had a regular life. Like I only knew basketball. He said I didn't even know myself besides basketball.
Many, many years ago, I read an article. I can't remember where exactly it was, but it stuck in my mind from that time.
Mm-hmm.
This is a professional athlete who played in the NFL. Okay. Junior Seau was in that. Lawrence Taylor was in the article. And the article was entitled Athletes Die Twice.
Mm.
Okay. And it spoke about when you retire from the game. And some people retire on their own accord, and some people are retired by the game. Okay. And that's when the music stops. That's when there's nobody cheering for you anymore. That's when you walk in the gym and the gym is empty and it's cold. You
Mm.
walk on the field and there's nobody in the stands. And then you die when you die.
Mm.
Okay. And yes, it's a hard transition. Okay. When you have been the show,
Mm.
and then they turn the lights out.
Mm.
Okay, it's a hard transition, but the good thing is many of these young people have gotten the opportunity to continue their career in other areas, be it coaching, be it media, be it
Yeah,
what
that's dope.
you do.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So I think that there are more opportunities in today's world for kids. And that's why it's good that kids are making some money. So because some of these kids are never going to play again after college.
All facts.
But you don't have to come out of college broke like you used to be.
Mm.
Okay. But so the paying kids is good. The way it's done is concerning.
Mm.
Because again, as much as paying kids are good, you are not necessarily teaching them how do you earn when that free check stop coming.
Mm.
So you
Indeed,
got done with college and you made all this money because you had NIL, and then you get to a place in life where, oh crap, I got to go get a regular job and I don't make that kind of money anymore. What did I do with the money that I made when it was coming easy? Was I smart enough to invest some of it? Was I smart enough to save some of it? Was I smart enough to understand that this day was coming?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I think the NIL aspect of this has to improve, because I don't believe that the kids are being educated well enough about the monies that they're getting and how they should manage that.
Mm. Mm. Well, Ray, man, we went from the past to the middle to the present, man, and this has just been a treat having you on, brother. I want to thank you for coming on, man. Drop a bug for KB. Tell him I'm building up the platform. I'm gonna be hollering at him in a little bit, man, to get him on here so we can kick it, man.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed, I'm proud of you guys. Y'all definitely took it up big time going down there, man. And I'm gonna hit you up, man, because me and my wife are gonna come down to Disney World. I might want to check out a game or something, and I'm gonna hit you up, man, to come down there, man.
All right, man. Anytime. Mike,
All right,
be
brother,
great, man.
you for coming on, Ray, man.
All right, boy. Be good.
All right. That was Ray Miller, man, and great episode, man, for those that watched it, man. And we're gonna have highlights, coming on starting tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And this was a pleasure going down memory lane, talking to the brother, man, and some of the stuff I didn't know about that was going on, and I was heavy in the St. Pat's lane back then. Tune in tomorrow night on Sober Heads, One Day at a Time podcast. I got a very special guest, JT. This brother invited me on his platform a couple years ago. One of the most influential person on YouTube right now, talking about the Most High and things of that nature as we change gears and get into sobriety. Tune in next week as we bring another powerful basketball guest on. I'll let you guys know who that is soon. And enjoy the rest of your night. Shalom.